Hey everyone, welcome to Brands on Brands on Brands. This week we talk about the Super Bowl, which you can learn from the ads it ran to help your local business. Stick around. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. If you're just turning in for the first time, I'm Brandon Birkmeyer, and I believe that building brands that matter to today's consumers is the only way to have a business that thrives tomorrow. So stick around. I hope you find something in here that you like. If you get a chance, go to the website, brandonbrands.com, and download my free online branding checklist. Now let's jump into the episode. Today I want to talk about the Super Bowl. I hope you guys got a chance to watch. It's the biggest viewing event of the year. Everyone gets together with their friends, or they go out to the local bars and watch the sporting event unfold before their eyes. I'm not a big football fan, admittedly. I do watch the game. I do play fantasy football, but I haven't kept track of the teams and who's doing what. But I do keep track of marketing and advertising, and I love tuning in every year to see what's happening with commercials, what advertisers are going to be out there, who's coming in big with something new, and who's doing things that kind of change the game, tell different stories, and get you excited. So it's fun for me to watch. I've definitely placed a few Super Bowl ads in my time and created strategies around how to make your business stand out in that kind of environment. So looking at it as a consumer for the first time in a while, because I don't have any ads running in this game for any of my clients, was fun because I got to just sit there and take it in as a consumer. But I can point out to you today some of the things that stood out to me that I thought, you know what, these lessons are universal. The things, the strategy, the tactics, the ideas that go into planning an ad campaign specifically for the Super Bowl, there are things that go into it that you can learn as a local business and apply to your own community, to your own products, to your own campaigns. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today. The four things that stand out to me in any campaign, and we'll go through them in depth, are 1, getting attention, 2, standing out from the crowd and from the clutter, which there's a lot of in a game like this. Number 3, storytelling, all those great commercial stories that either make you laugh or cry or catch your attention for the first time. And number 4, interaction, those commercials that get us to actually do something and take action and go onto a website or send a tweet, whatever it is. Those are the 4 components that I think stand out that can matter to your local business as well. That's getting attention, telling a story, standing out from the crowd, and interacting with your true fans. Now let's dive into the first of those 4, which is getting attention. Obviously, if you're in the Super Bowl, you're looking for attention. You're trying to get as many eyeballs as possible. This is the number 1 watched event on TV, not just sporting event, any event of the year. This is where everyone actually gathers together, pays attention, not just to the game, but also to the commercials. And that's rare. It's really one of the only times where people sit there and look forward to seeing what's happening in between the content. It becomes a fodder for conversation. It becomes water cooler talk the next day. People sit there while they're together and laugh and discuss, was that funny? Did I like it? And they really do pay attention to the ads. It's a unique phenomenon in our society these days. That attention is super valuable. I think the going rate for Super Bowl ads this year was in the realm of $4 to $5 million for one spot. So obviously it's very costly, and the brands that can afford to do that, they take it very seriously. There's a lot of thought that goes into these campaigns, but attention is number 1. These are brands that want to be on the forefront in your head, at the top of your brain when you're going to the stores and you're making those purchases. And for them, that's the right people is everyone, because they're pretty broad usually when they can afford this and they want to reach a lot of people. 2 of the brands that took advantage of the Super Bowl this year were Bon and Viv and Bumble. Bon and Viv surprised me, I'm not going to lie. It was the first ad of the game. It was in the first commercial block right after the coin toss. And on comes this commercial with mermaids talking about a spiked seltzer drink. And I'd never heard of it before. And it was very visual and interesting. And I was like, what is happening? Who's advertising right now? What is this drink? So it definitely stood out. And the main thing I was wondering as someone in marketing was, who can afford to do an ad like this? Is this some small company? There's no way possible. And sure enough, it turns out that company is owned by Anheuser-Busch, which is obviously a major beer company, and they tend to have the most spots in a lot of these Super Bowls each year. So apparently they're obviously putting their money behind a new brand that they want to roll out. And that's what you do when you have something that you have the money behind and you want to grow your product lineup, and you want to do it in the way because you have the distribution and you can be in all the different stores. You want to go where the attention is to really announce that and build attention around that product. And that's what Anheuser-Busch did. They invested in their product, Bon and Viv, and said, hey, this is something we're going to put attention on and draw conversation around. So they got out there, they got the eyeballs for it, and they put a commercial right in that first ad break. Another ad that ran right after that, the second one that was right up after Bon and Viv, was for Bumble. Bumble is an app that people are aware of, that people are using. And now what they were talking about is that it's not just for dating, it's also for meeting people and for networking and for creating business relationships. And they started with Serena Williams with having a monologue and having her playing tennis and hitting some balls across the court. And in her monologue, your attention was grabbed. She's talking about women empowerment and how business is changing, and Bumble is supporting that. So getting that message across and putting that in front of all the millions of people watching the Super Bowl was a big play for them and gains a lot of attention. You invest in that first spot, you're going to get a lot of attention. So you want to drive conversation. So that's what they did. They told a story, they put a stake in the ground and said, this is what we're about. And that's what you want to do, especially if you're an up and coming company. When you have a mission that you need people to rally around to push your product, that's what you do. So, hats off to them for grabbing those first couple spots, for building attention around things that not a lot of people already know about, and really investing in their products. Now, you as a local business, what you can do is take that and look at the lessons that you can pull from that. For me, again, it's about getting attention. So in your particular niche or in your particular neighborhood, what can you do that gets the attention of all the people that matter to you? Now, you don't have to go and buy everyone like the Super Bowl did. That's a lot of waste for your business. But for you, if you're a local business in a neighborhood, how do you get everyone's attention in that zip code that's right near your store? Or if you have a product or you're an entrepreneur that serves a particular niche of business, how do you speak to all the people that matter to you? How do you speak to all those customers at once where they are reached the quickest with the most eyeballs? So you got to figure that out for your business. But if you start to think about where's all the attention for this kind of business, that's a similar strategy to what they do for the Super Bowl. For a lot of businesses, the attention really for them is going to be within a social media tool or with an influencer or at a local niche event in your neighborhood, something where a lot of people in that area are coming to and are already attending. So figuring out how to leverage the voices in your area that already have a strong pull and have a strong following, or the voices in your niche that influence your space, or looking in your area and figuring out what are the events that everyone goes to that they talk about, that they look forward to every year, and how can you have a presence there to get that attention. And then it's looking for where people are actually searching for your products. Where do they go when they try to find the thing that you give them? That's where the attention is. For the thing that you're selling, if you're a local business, they're going to be Googling you, they're going to be looking online, trying to find businesses like yours to serve that particular need. They're going to be going online and finding reviews for your business, for your site, to compare you to other businesses that are also online. They're going to be looking up content that helps educate them on the process of finding a service or a business like yours. They might want to be learning a little bit about it before they make a purchase. They might be looking at video content, whether it's written or video. You might have to put some content out there, whether it's on YouTube or within blogs or within a written content post of some sort. You have to put content out there where people are looking for it when they're searching for your business. That's the other part of capturing attention for a business like yours. Number 2 is standing out from the crowd. There's a lot of clutter out there, especially during the Super Bowl. There's commercials, there's the game, there's people talking in the room that you're in, there's the chips that you're eating, whatever it is. And in advertising in general, there's a lot of clutter. The big part of the strategy for Super Bowl is figuring out how to stand out, how to be remembered the next day. So a lot about that is figuring out how to be newsworthy, how to get that attention. And part of the strategy there is usually finding something that surprises you, finding something that stands out. And a couple of the brands that did that were Doritos and Expensify. Both of them kind of tapped into what's popular in culture. Doritos brought back the Backstreet Boys to sing one of their popular hits from 20 years ago. And then they brought a current artist, Chance the Rapper, in And they did a mashup, and it was a very elaborate performance and funny, and caught your attention. It stuck out both from a visual standpoint and with the audio elements as well. And it played into a lot of different audiences, the younger generations and the older. So they used that to their advantage. They grabbed your attention by bringing in things that people already like, that they already have passion for, that stands out in a quirky way. And they use those noteworthy things to tell their story. And Expensify did a similar thing. They tapped into a relevant music artist, a rapper who's shooting a music video, and it was crazy elaborate and over the top, which was the funny part of it and the humor in it. And within it, they stop and they do an awkward pause and cut to an accountant that comes by and is asking him for his paper expenses, and he calls out that he's using Expensify, which makes it easy and doesn't need to track his paper receipts. It's really an odd juxtaposition, but that's what stands out in these kinds of things, is you're using what's happening in culture and what's relevant, and celebrity is always a good way to do that. But then you're telling a story that stands out because of the juxtaposition, the conflict between those two things that don't naturally go together. So good job to them as well for using those kinds of things to stand out from the crowd. Another way to stand out from the crowd is to be the host, to be the leader in the space, to have something ownable. And that's what Pepsi did. It's always Pepsi at the half. It's their halftime show. They're branded all over from beginning to end of the sporting event. And regardless if you remember their commercial or not, you're probably going to remember that it's the Pepsi halftime show. You're probably going to remember the performances, and you're going to associate that with that brand when you're thinking about them. So it's not even the ads, but being able to be the one that hosts the party, that sponsors the main event, that's the main title sponsor of such a big event, is what's important to a brand like Pepsi that's a massive brand in the United States. So that's something to think about for your local business. How can you stand out by either A, being newsworthy, doing something different, bringing in some kind of extra attention-getting thing that makes your business worthy of talking about, or two, being a host of some sort, finding something that's relevant in your industry or in your neighborhood and being the main sponsor of that thing. The person that hosts a party is the person that everyone's talking about. So whether it's as elaborate and in your face as some of this, or it's a little more subtle and reserved, what makes sense for your industry, that's not what matters. What matters is that you have sitting there and found a way to stand out in people's minds, whether it's by hacking their attention through something unique and creative, or by being the main focus of attention that surrounds something that they are affiliated with or that they like. The third lesson learned within the Super Bowl ads that you can apply to your business is about storytelling. The two businesses that I love that took advantage of this for Super Bowl were Bud Light and Amazon. Bud Light comes through every year pretty strong. This is one of their biggest ads of the year. And these past few years, they've been telling the story that's set in a medieval time of the Bud Knights, and the Bud Knight being this character that you can associate with, that they can tell story through in an entertaining way. This year they sent the Bud Knight on a quest to different castles to figure out whose corn syrup was delivered to the wrong castle. Now, obviously they're using that as a way to position themselves against the competition, saying that the competition uses corn syrup and they don't. Is that something that matters to consumers? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make it matter, whether it did initially or not. But it is something that they can say is different, and they use that in a very clever and humorous way to position themselves as something to think about, as someone different that stands out in their space. And it's such an entertaining ad that you almost don't catch what they're trying to do. I mean, it's so in your face and obvious that it almost skips the point of being annoying and being actually just more entertaining and funny. So to be able to sell something that's that specific as funny is a really clever way to execute that ad. And what I would say for you guys is, as entrepreneurs, is to figure out a way to tell your story, to talk about your unique selling point. You may call out your competition, you may not, but definitely you have to position yourselves as different within your industry. Alexa, or Amazon Alexa, was the other one that did a great job of storytelling. They're an innovator in the space. They're one of the bigger companies, but they're the first that really tapped into this voice search and voice-driven economy that now we're going behind, in voice-driven technology. And as a leader in that space, they want to talk about their innovation, but they did it in a very tongue-in-cheek and funny way. by creating a dog collar that also responds to the Amazon Alexa cues and showing the dog ordering food and other equipment and supplies for itself. And that back and forth played out to be really humorous and funny. But what they're trying to say is, hey, we are the leader in this space. Do a lot of innovation, we disrupt technology, and look at the cool things that we create. Even if this wasn't a real product, it still tells that story of innovation and technology and puts Amazon Alexa on your mind as a leader in the space. And that's what you have to do as well as a local entrepreneur, as a local business. You have to sit there and figure out, what can you own? What can you take ownership of in terms of your reputation? What are the things that make you different? What are the accolades? What are the things that you can build into your story that makes you different than other people, that supports why you're the better product, that proves to people and provides that backing to say, yes, they are better at this, so I do believe them. So figure out why you're different. Figure out what the reputational element is that you need to support that's going to convince someone to buy your products. And the fourth lesson we can learn from Super Bowl and apply to our local business is about interaction. Interacting with your consumer and your customer is a huge part of your business. Doing this isn't always easy though, especially when you're talking about doing it through your advertising. Now in Super Bowl, a couple of the brands that did this, which maybe didn't stand out in terms of commercials, but stood out in terms of interaction. One was for Planters Peanuts and the other was for Frank's Red Hot. These are brands that I don't normally consume or really have any attention for, but they stood out to me and I got involved in because I found when I was looking at what was trending on Twitter, there were a couple of contests and that caught my attention. It gave me something to do, something to entertain myself with while I was also watching the game and talking to my friends. So Frank's Red Hot had a competition where you text a simple couple emojis and you're entered to win a free car. It's a big enough prize that I figured, what's the harm in trying to win it? Texted it in, got me involved, got me thinking about their brand, and there was an interaction there. And now they have my information and they can text me back and they can engage me in the future with either some other prize or promotion and try to convince me to become a customer of theirs. It was pretty simple, but it worked. It got me interacting. It wasn't something that I saw and then forgot. I interacted with it in a different way that makes it more memorable than a lot of the commercials that I saw. And the next one was for Planters Peanuts. Now they did have a commercial in the game of the Planters Peanuts truck being driven around in a crazy way. Honestly, I didn't even remember that much, but the Twitter contest I did remember. They had it set up so that I had to send a tweet out with a specific response at a certain time limit and compete with other people to win little prizes along the way. There weren't even prizes I was that interested in. I think it was a year's supply of peanuts and a couple other things, but I liked the gaming of it. I liked being able to play and participate in something. And honestly, every 15 minutes or so, or even less sometimes, there was a new prize and a new contest running with a new hashtag to tweet. And it was fun. And I sat there refreshing my browser and seeing when I can send the next text, or next tweet, I should say. And when I was doing that, they said, turn your notifications on for Twitter so you can see when the next post comes and you can be one of the first to reply, because you had to be one of the first 100 to text in to win, or to be eligible to win. And that was brilliant, not only because I was tweeting and being involved in interacting with their business, but now they said, set your notifications for specifically my brand on Twitter. So now whenever they tweet something, it pops up and notifies me. And that's something that a lot of people are going to forget to turn off, and they'll now be in the longer message queue from that brand until they find a way to turn it off or they like what they hear. I turned it off the next day because I know what's happening and I'm aware of that kind of stuff. But a lot of people are going to stick around and stay fans of that company. So it was an interesting way to interact. They provided value the whole way, so I didn't mind. I could turn it off whenever I wanted to. But I like chasing the thrill of it. I like the gaming, and I like the possibility that I could win something. So good job to them for finding a way to interact. You can do that same thing with your local business. You just have to find the thing that they want to do that creates that interaction. That could be a local promotion, that could be a freebie, that could be a reason to come in, a reason to do something different in your business. Get them interacting, get them talking to you, get them playing a game of some sort so that they can win something. Create some kind of interaction that makes sense for what you're trying to do and give them a reward. Give them some kind of prize. And in that, you're not just having an interaction with your business besides the exchange of service and product, but you're having an actual interaction. And what's interesting about that is not only are you building a relationship, which is the core foundation of a business, but you're also finding a way to provide new value to them. And in that value, there's an exchange. They, a lot of the time, will provide you their information for that interaction. They will give you their email address. They will give you their text information so that you can send them texts and messages and follow up on this game. Or that you're getting information about them as a customer so that the next time that they visit, you have a little bit more information about them. That's all really valuable if you're trying to find true fans that you can turn into loyal customers that have repeat visits or buy more than once. These are the keys to getting those people to interact with you. But there has to be a value exchange. I can't say that enough. If you're asking something from your customer, you have to be giving them something in return. A lot of people do this by either giving away a free Wi-Fi to catch an email address, or to deliver some sort of content for an email address or a text, or you can give your feedback or a survey, or you get a coupon, or you get something free or a free experience, you get an add-on, whatever it is. You can find something that you can give of value that is an exchange for the information you're looking for your customers. And if they see the value in that, they will opt in. You just have to find the right thing for your business. And that's it. I think those are the key tricks there. I hope you liked the Super Bowl as much as I did, but if you could take those lessons, if you could start to think about what are the big guys doing with their businesses that can apply to mine, I think you'd find those same lessons. You need to get the attention of your customers. You need to find ways to have them talking about you. You need to be storytelling in a way that helps people understand what your reputation is, why you're different, and why they should choose you. You need to stand out. You need to be different. And you need to interact with your customers through and through. You need to find a way to engage, provide value, and interact with them along the way. So hope that helped. Hope those are things that you also would take away. I'd love to hear if there's other lessons you think you'd learned, if there's other commercials you really loved. Those all stood out for me. I had a great time watching, and I hope that you found value in the show. And if you did find value in the show, I hope that you subscribe. I hope that you can leave a review. It means the world to me. Plus, I'd love to hear from you. Go to my website, schedule some time with me. I'd love to hear from you listening what it is that you like hearing, what you liked about the episode, and maybe we can find some guests that you'd want to hear from as well. Thanks for listening. We'll talk soon, and have a great day.